first thing that you got to do when you create your Twitch account is that you got to come up with a name. So you got to come up with your Twitch name, and there's a couple of things that you need to think about, you know, when you're doing this, and you need get in the mindset of you're creating a business, right? You're creating a business, so you want to make it easy to read and people understand when someone looks at it. You want it to be unique to you. So if you have a gamer tag from years on back that you want to kind of turn into Twitch name, that's great. That's a great way to start. But the one thing to do is you want to avoid using numbers at the end of it. You may ask yourself, okay, well, why does that matter? Well, if we're thinking in the terms of business names, you wouldn't see Walmart make Walmart 62, right? So Walmart wouldn't, they started in 1962. So you wouldn't see Walmart 62. You just see Walmart. To kind of back this up, you know, I did when I was thinking of this theory, when I was thinking of this, I was like, well, can I back this up? And yes, if you go to the top 50 streamers on Twitch right now, if you go to the top 50 streamers on Twitch right now, you can count on one hand. You can count on one hand how many of these streamers have numbers at the end of it. You can look at this and the top 50 you can count on one hand. And again, this doesn't say you can't use numbers in your name. There's plenty of reasons why you would. If you want to spell your name with a number, then that's great. Just make sure it's very clear that what you're trying to spell. That's really important because you want to make it readable to everybody on Twitch. So this title of this section is Network First, Stream Second. So networking is a key feature to streaming. You won't be able, if no one knows you're on Twitch, no one's going to come to your channel. So you need to be able to stream first, network first and stream second. And you know, some of the best ways to network is to go to your favorite streamers' channels, chat with them, lurk in their channel, even sub if you can afford the sub to their channel. But the best way to network with a streamer is to chat with them in their chat, because it's free for you and it interacts with them and helps them out during the stream. And that is one of the if you're in that networking mode, that is the easiest way to network with a streamer. But the other thing you should do, and one of the biggest things, because it will be a very powerful tool to you, is joining a streamer's Discord and or a Twitch community. There's a lot of great communities out there. For myself, you can, like, I'm part of TBD, I'm part of Video Vanguards. Those are two great communities filled with awesome people that I've connected with. But Discord can be a very tough tool to learn or to use. It can be very tough, but learn to use it because it will be one of the most powerful networking tools that you have. And again, you hop into a large Discord, it can be very daunting. You see a chat, you see the general chat just blasting, just 100 people talking all at once. It can be very daunting. It can be very scary, but learn to use it. And we will have another class that will talk about how to use Discord at a later date. But when you're thinking about in the terms of networking, you also, you want to connect with streamers and viewers on a common interest level, and not just about streaming or gaming. So don't go into networking thinking I'm just going to talk about streaming or I'm just going to talk about games. Connect with them on a different level, outside of those worlds. So connect with them on a level of, like, if they enjoy woodworking and you like woodworking, maybe talk about woodworking, you know, or if you went on a beautiful hike and then someone else went on a beautiful hike, talk about the beautiful hikes together. You know, don't just talk about gaming and streaming. A good way of thinking of this as well is that you're trying to make friends rather than business associates, right? You don't want to think of them as business associates. You want to think of them as friends. And that is what you're essentially trying to do here. And and thinking of a common interest, coming up with common interest with them, or finding common interest is a great way of doing that. If you're already streaming, so there are people in here who are already streaming. If you're already streaming and you're not seeing the growth that you're hoping or you're expecting, one thing I would recommend is scaling back your streams. So, so the one thing I would do is scale back your streams and maybe to once or twice a week. And then the time you were already streaming, dedicate that to networking. The next section, this won't be a Q&A section because this actually is pretty in depth, is finding the gear that you need. Now, to keep in mind, you don't need to break the bank. You don't need to break the bank when it comes to gear. You don't need to go and buy the most expensive camera. You don't need to go buy the most expensive mic. There's plenty of great budget options out there. But one thing to keep in mind is back in 2018, excuse me, there was a report. There was a report done by streamkick.com that basically came out and said 79% of viewers on Twitch say good audio is important to them. Right here, down here. Good audio is important to them. So if you're going into Twitch streaming and you have a very limited budget, if you have a very limited budget and you need to pick and choose between a face cam or a microphone, you should go with a decent microphone. Good audio will trump everything else. If your viewers can't hear you, they're not going to stick around. They're just not. If it's jumbled audio, or it sounds like there's a vacuum cleaner in the background and or air duct system or something just clouding the audio, then you need to invest in a decent microphone. Now, again, you don't need to break the bank when it comes to microphones, right? There's plenty of great options out there for budget mics. One that I would recommend, let's see if I can pop it up here. One that I would recommend highly for anybody on a budget is the Blue Snowball. This is a great microphone. It is under $50. You can get it for $48 right now, and it will be crystal clear. Blue did a great job with this mic. It'll be crystal clear. It'll be small. It'll be just really easy to use. It's plug and play for the most part. And again, it doesn't break the bank. But if you wanted to kind of upgrade, if you wanted to be like, oh, I want a little bit of a nicer mic, well, you can go with the Blue Yeti Nano. This is another beautiful mic. It's small, right? So it's small, so it won't be big and bulky, and it will give you beautiful audio quality, just as almost as it's about the same quality as at least what I've heard when people are using it, as the Blue Yeti, which is the full size mic, and it's smaller. It's about yay big. It's about the size of my condenser mic right here, my XLR mic. So that's a great budget option as well. But I want to have the best stuff right out of the gate. Well, the Audio-Technica 2020 is a great USB microphone that. I mean, I have the Audio-Technica 2020 here. This is the XLR version. I personally love this microphone. I bought it from a friend for about 40 bucks. But it's a great USB microphone, and it will give you the best one of the best qualities out there for under $500. Well, under $200. Anything above this, like anything that you go, like if you go any bigger than this, you might as well just go with like a Rode or go with a Shure, because anything in between is going to be about the same quality as this. And then when you go up to the Shure or you go up to like a Rode mic, those are just way more higher quality, and you need a decent compressor for those and all those things. A better compressor than what a mic will give you. Again, because like 78% of viewers on Twitch, at least from the report that we just saw, like they're telling us we want good audio. So make sure whatever you do on Twitch, you have decent audio. That is very important. With staying on the idea of gear, the same report, as you can see here, the same report comes out and says 63% of viewers on Twitch want a face cam. They want a face cam, and that's the next purchase should be on your list. Should be a face cam. And so when you get a face cam, well, what do you do with a face cam? Well, there's a couple options. You have a couple options when you have a face cam. One is what I'm doing. You can have a green screen. A green screen is a great option. It gives you a nice clean look to your stream. However, you need to have an understanding of chroma key. You need to understand that how chroma key works and keying backgrounds and things like that, which we'll cover in another lesson. We'll cover that in another lesson later down the road, a little bit more in depth on the technical side of setting up a stream. And you actually need to get some lights. And so what I would recommend is going and getting these guys here. These are $40 LED lights, 2,500 lumen portable work lights. You can just go to Home Depot and pick these up. You probably find them on Amazon too. But these are great little lights that you can hang up on the wall. You can Velcro them. You can get light stands if you want. But these are great little lights that will light you. They're wide enough where they'll light you and they'll light the green screen without any problem. Realistically, that's all you should need is 2 lights. You shouldn't need any more than that. So on top of needing to get a face cam, you also need to get lights if you do a green screen background like I'm doing. The other option as well is if you don't want to go with a green screen, is just having a background, having the full background as your background, as your camera. Now, most new streamers will do this. Most new streamers will actually do this, and because it's an easier and nicer option to do. Now, that doesn't say you don't need to light yourself. You do need to have decent light. You don't want to look like you live in a dungeon. So you do need to light yourself still. And you need to make sure whatever's in your background, you need to make sure that it's clean. You need to if you have a bed, make sure it's made. If you have a blank wall, put something like interesting. There's a streamer out there that has a wall full of pop dolls. Like he has like hundreds of pop dolls, and it's just a wall full of them. And then or you can have interesting colored lights that change colors in the background. Fork My Life does that. Corgilicious does that. There's tons of streamers that do that, and it's really, really cool and looks really nice. Yeah, so you definitely need decent light so your viewers can see you and it doesn't look like you. Also, for your camera not to look so noisy. If you ever seen a viewer or a streamer and their camera just looks like there's like bugs flying all over the place, that's because their camera's not getting enough light, and it's having to artificially bump the light and using software, which makes it noisy, which makes the camera noisy and looks like bugs are flying all over the place. So you don't want that look. You want to make sure you're well lit, you have a clean background, and maybe an interesting background. Just like the microphones, you don't need to break the bank, right? You don't need to break the bank when it comes to webcams. This camera right here, this is a great little camera. It does 1080p, and it's under $50. It's actually cheaper than the microphones. And this little guy will do exactly what you want. But I will tell you this, if you go with a camera like this, you need to give it plenty of light. Lots of light, because it will get noisy fast. So make sure you have a ring light or those LED lights that I showed you earlier. Make sure you get a ring light or any kind of lights, because it will get noisy. And but a little bit better camera will have a little bit better system to it, and this is this one. It's again another great price. It's actually cheaper than what I saw the other day. Actually, I saw this for $70. It's now $66. So this is actually a pretty good price. This is the Pro Stream webcam. Now this says 1080p, right? This says 1080p just like the last camera. But what's unique about this one is that you can do 720p at 60. So you can have a 60p camera running on your stream for under $100. Now, if you're wondering what camera I use, this is the camera I use. So right now you're looking at me through this camera. And if you like the way it looks, then obviously go purchase this guy, because this guy is a great little camera. So if you stream on console, that's a whole nother beast. That's a whole nother beast if you stream on console. Streaming on console is, there's a couple ways of doing it. One of the most common ways is streaming with a capture card. And the best capture card around right now is the Elgato HD60S, right? Everyone knows this capture card. This is probably one of the best capture cards you can get on the market right now. It's USB-C or USB 3 with a USB-C plug to it. It is very easy to use. But with that said, if you are on an Xbox One, and you're streaming from your Xbox One, you can use any of the above webcams to stream from. So you can use any of the above webcams. Also on Xbox One, you can plug in any of those mics that were above. However, if you're on a PlayStation 4, if you want a face cam, you have to use their PlayStation camera. However, any of those mics that I said above, any of the USB mics that I said above will work on a PlayStation. You just have to go into the settings and set it up. You plug it in USB and it will work through that system. And this one is called Streaming Software and Your Art. There's a number of different streaming softwares out there that you can pick from. Streamlabs OBS, OBS.live, which is a Stream Elements service or software, OBS Studio, and XSplit. All of them have pros and cons, but essentially we won't go over those right now. But if you are a new streamer on Twitch, I highly recommend using Streamlabs OBS. And the reason why is because it has everything a new streamer needs built right into the system. Right into the system. It has built-in overlays, it has alerts, it has bots, it has a chat bot, and it has like built-in chat. The one thing to keep in mind though with Streamlabs OBS is that it can be really taxing on your CPU. And you may see a performance hit with when you're gaming and streaming at the same time. If your PC if you end up not being able to do that, end up running Streamlabs because it's just too taxing on your computer, and you're seeing you're seeing FPS drops like crazy. What I recommend is looking at OBS.live or OBS Studios. The biggest issue with those two is that you need to understand browser sources, which we'll cover in another class, another lesson. But if you go with Streamlabs OBS, it will all be built in right there. So try to run it first and see how it goes. If you're doing a console capture card system, then you shouldn't have too many problems. Because you're not trying to game and stream on one PC. So one thing about Streamlabs that's really great is, again, their selection of overlays. They have over 800. I actually counted. I didn't count individually, but I counted. They have over 800 individual overlays. And what's cool about it is that you can actually sort it by color. You can sort it by static, which means not standing still, essentially, or animated. So you can, if you wanted an animated overlay, you can actually look here and it'll say animated next to it, and you can click on them, and you can actually like see what the animation will be and all that stuff. You can also find if you find a certain kind, if you play a certain game, you can find like an Overwatch overlay, which basically won't cover up all the important bits that you may need for overlay for say Overwatch. So, you know, you won't cover up the score. You won't cover up like a health bars or whatever it is. You won't cover those up. Say this enough. It's free. All this is free, right? You don't pay for it. They offer it for free. And again, also widgets. Widgets are your alerts essentially, and you can get are your alerts. And there's just, it is just a really cool system. So we're not done. There's with the art part. There's another section to this art part that it's something that a lot of new streamers overlook. It's definitely a lot of that they overlook, and it's your panels. You need to have panels when you start, and it's essential. You don't need to have a whole artist do panels for you, but you do need to have essentially about 3 main panels. You need to have a bio about you. The reason why is because it gives your viewers a quick snippet of who you are, before they even talk to you. And it can just be, it doesn't need to be a long story about your life. It can just be, this is who I am. These are the games I enjoy playing. This is kind of the value that we have here on the stream, or the values we have on stream. And that's it. That's all it needs to be. And then you have social media links. So if you have any social media links, which is again is a whole nother class, but if you have Twitter, Instagram, if you have your Discord, if you have your own Discord, things like that, you can make a panel for each individual one if you want. Or there's a great service. There's a great service called Linktree that you can look up. And this service is super great. You can actually connect your Linktree, and it will have a list of all your different social medias where people can find all of them. And if you're struggling, how do I make panels? Where do I go? Well, Nerd or Die has a great free service here that you can make panels. It's really easy to use. You type in your text here, and then you pick your icon, and you can change the size. It's all live edit here. You can change your vertical angle stuff, and then add padding. You can change your fonts. So these are all web fonts. And then you name the file and download it. You can also change colors for all of these, and this is a great service where you can get free panels for free custom panels for your Twitch stream when you're starting out. So this last part is called "You're Ready, Let Go." So what should you stream? This is a very big question that a lot of new streamers ask themselves. At this point, you probably are like, well, video games, of course, it's Twitch. Why would I stream anything else? It's Twitch. Well, Twitch is growing. Twitch isn't just about games anymore. Twitch has categories for cooking, for science, for creative streams. So don't think you have to just play games on Twitch anymore. Go check out some of the non-gaming categories. You never know, you might find something that you really love, or that you do love as a hobby that you want to bring in the Twitch, and it might be a niche that you really excel at, and you might be the next big streamer in that category. And what's great about this is Twitch is recognizing that there is more than just gaming on Twitch, because they are creating new categories for science, for cooking, for creative streams. So don't think you just have to play games anymore. Sports and fitness is becoming a really big category on Twitch. And if you are a fitness coach, or you're a, you know, you work at a gym and you also enjoy video games, you know, maybe 2 streams out of the week, you do a fitness stream, you know. The Nerd Wife is a great example. The Nerd Wife, she does yoga streams, and I think that is super awesome. So just keep that in mind. You don't just have to play games anymore on Twitch. If you are playing games, first and foremost, play games you enjoy. You've heard this from every person to ever stream on Twitch, or anyone that's ever given advice on Twitch. Play games you enjoy. That is advice that you'll always get. And I 100% agree with that. I 100% agree with that. But keep in mind, when you're doing this, play games, find games you enjoy between the top 10 and 25 on Twitch. So why? Because you're likely, if you decide you want to play, GTA or Fortnite, you want to play one of those games, you'll likely get drowned out by the bigger streamers, and you'll be put down to the bottom of the directory. And it'll be really a big struggle for people from the browsing page to find you. It really will be a struggle. So play games between the top 10 and 20. Find games you enjoy between the top 10 and 20 and 25. You'll likely be able to get above the noise, and people find you through the browser page. And that is where you're gonna. That's where people are really gonna be able to find you, and organically click on your Twitch account or your Twitch channel. But one of the things to keep in mind as well when you go through this, there's some great third-party trackers out there. One of them is called Twitch Tracker. This is one of the most popular sites for tracking your information, or not just your information, but like information on Twitch and like how busy Twitch is. And you can actually see like their increase in active broadcasters from October until February, and how many viewers and all this stuff. And then you see the top channels and all these things. But what's also interesting is you can actually find games on here too. You can find games that are growing in popularity. So if you scroll down here and you're like, oh, well, what games are growing in popularity? And you can actually see on the side here, like, oh, this one's up. FIFA 19 is up. I love soccer. I'm gonna start playing FIFA. And so you see these things. Satisfactory is another one, 61% increase. It's another game that you may want to consider playing. You know, if you think it might have been interesting and you might want to get into it, oh well, yeah, 61%. Why not? So that is this is a really powerful website that I would recommend everyone taking a look at. So that is something to keep in mind, is know your Twitch analytics. Look at your Twitch analytics. Don't get too lost in them though when you're first starting out. Don't get too lost in them. Focus on the content, but definitely can look at them as you're going through. Is more of an opinion section. Is more of an opinion section than anything else. But there are some facts in here. It's not a section. It's next subsection, I guess I should say. It's your Twitch presence. But this is tips on how to be kind of on stream. And these are 100% up to you if you want to do it or not. This isn't set in stone rules, but these are things that that over the years that like I've learned from radio, from podcasts, overall, just a bunch of different things that I've picked up over the time. So one thing that radio DJs have a saying, no dead air, none. And this should always be in the back of your mind. Like, it should always be in the back of your mind. Try to find something to talk about throughout the entire stream. And it could be about your day. It could be about your past weekend. It could be about your future weekend. It could be what's happening in game. That's a really easy thing to talk about, is like, what are you doing right now at that moment? And the reason why is, you know, because you have 15 seconds to attract new viewers. You have 15 seconds to attract any new viewers to not just like this isn't just a statistic from Twitch. This is a statistic from radio, from TV, from everywhere in the world. You'll hear that you have only 15 seconds to attract a new viewer once they enter your channel. And if there's just a person sitting there like this, playing a game, they're not going to sit around and wait. Like, they're going to be bored. They're just going to leave immediately, because they want someone who's interacting, who's being animated, who's talking. And yes, you have to do this when there says 0 in chat. When that viewership says 0, actually, when you first start on Twitch, you should just turn it off. Just turn off your view count. Don't even have your view count on, honestly. That is, turn it off. Don't worry about your view count. Just talk as much as you can. Now, you don't really know how to practice talking all the time, because it can be hard. One of the best practices to do is start writing a stream of consciousness. A stream of consciousness is basically writing whatever is in your head. And don't worry about grammar, don't worry about spelling, don't worry about spacing. And if you have nothing in your head to write about why you have nothing in your head to write about. That's a conscious stream of writing, and that will help you practice talking. Like, you're writing it, but it will help you just talk about stuff all the time, nonstop. And that is what you need to keep in mind, is no dead air. None. So if you're struggling to come up with what to talk about, or you're struggling to practice, or you're struggling to figure out how you do it, practice a stream of consciousness, writing a stream of consciousness. Which brings us into the next point: interact with chat. Say hello to everyone that comes in. Every single person that comes in the chat, say hello. Take the time, thank them for taking the time out of their day to come and hang out with you in your chat. This is huge. If you see someone chatting and you don't say hello to them, they're not going to come back. They're going to think that you ignored them, and they're going to just leave. So make sure you talk to every single person. Moving on. So keeping in mind, continuing your ready in your stream presence. Well, some of the things that a lot of streamers don't really keep in mind, or have in their mindset, is don't eat on stream. A lot of people don't think about this. Avoid trying to eat on stream at all as possible. Eat before you're streaming. But honestly, nobody likes food ASMR. There might be, I mean, it's the internet, so probably somebody likes food ASMR, but it's really, it can be really distracting and sound gross. So that is something I did want to put in this lesson, because a lot of new streamers will eat on stream, and they don't really think about it. They'll have a Taco Bell or have a burger or something, and they're eating, and you just hear it, and it does not sound good. So if you're a new streamer on Twitch and you're trying and you're getting into this, make sure that you don't eat on stream. Drinking water obviously is fine. Soda, beer, whatever. And if you absolutely have to eat something, like you just rush to get rush to get on stream and you need to you need to eat, then yes, take a break, take like a 5-minute break and go eat something, or down and do it that way. That's a great way of doing it, is just doing that. But again, nobody likes food ASMR. Nobody really does. Is open to when is the best time to stream. And honestly, it's really up to you. Twitch is always busy. There's always somebody, there's always people on Twitch. There's obviously peak times. There's obviously peak times to be on Twitch. But really when you're first starting out, it's really when you have time to do it. And so you have to find a schedule that works best for you. Now, I would recommend streaming 2 to 3 times a week. And then whatever time you would consider streaming, I would use that for networking, like we talked about in the very first one of the second section of this lesson plan is stream 2 or 3 times a week. If you plan to stream 5 days a week, use those extra 2 days or use those extra 3 days to network in Discord, in someone's channel. Once you have a schedule, stay consistent with it. Consistency. You know, the business had a saying, or does have a saying, location. That's how you will be successful, is location. Internet, the saying to be successful should be consistency. Because if you can build trust with your viewers through being consistent with your schedule, they will show up the very moment you hit that go live button. If they know that you're going live at 9 a.m., then they will be there waiting for you. If they know that you're going to be streaming for 3 hours or 4 hours, then they'll be there for 3 or 4 hours. They will, if you can build that trust with your viewership, they will be there for you. If you have to absolutely cancel a stream, make sure you let everyone know the best way you can, either through your own Discord, through Twitter, whatever social media apps you're using. Remember, network first, stream second. Don't if you're worried about growth and you're worried about getting big on Twitch, make sure you network first and stream second. Finding the gear best for you. You don't have to break the bank. Remember, go with a mic first if you have to pick and choose. Go with a mic first, get some decent audio, and then go with a face cam. And then also pick the streaming software that's best for you. You know, I mentioned there's 4 different ones: Streamlabs OBS, OBS.live, OBS Studios, and XSplit. I personally recommend Streamlabs OBS to any new streamers if your computer can run it and also be streaming. Also, you can find your using Streamlabs OBS, you can find your art pretty easily, and you can. And remember, present yourself on Twitch is extremely important. You know, don't eat on stream. The interacting with chat, and also making sure to talk all the time and no dead air. That is essentially the lesson, everybody. I do hope that this lesson helped you if you're thinking about getting on there. And if you have any questions, this is the time to ask. I will do my best to answer any questions that you may have on Twitch, on anything. Our next lesson will be on Twitch affiliate.